Okay.
I have a small present for you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is a puzzle. A very specific kind of puzzle. I don't know how much film you have, but I'll see if I can solve this very quickly.
Okay, you can.
Probably not.
Proč jste přijel do Prahy? Nechce se mi věřit, že se tu jen kocháte památkami. Hledáte tu inspiraci pro novou knihu?
I'm in Prague for many reasons. The first reason is that it is one of the great European cities, and somehow I haven't been here yet, which seems like a crime. My brother, who travels the world, has told me Prague is his favorite city in the world, and I must go. And of course, I'm always looking for ideas for new novels, and there's a lot of mysticism and a lot of history, and some really magical locations here in Prague, and I've seen some of them and had a wonderful time.
Takže ale existuje šance, že by se příští kniha mohla odehrávat v Praze.
There is always a chance. You will not get me to commit to anything. You know I like secrets, but I've seen so much here to be inspired by, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Vaše knihy mi přijdou psány téměř jako scénáře. Je to záměr? Počítáte už dopředu, že bude kniha sfilmovaná?
I'm a very visual person, and so I write very vivid descriptions of the places. I like action, I like fast-paced, and so I mean if I'm doing my job well, the books feel like movies. You can picture them and you can see them. I don't write screenplays. I write novels, and you know, the movies were written by somebody else, not by me. But you know, it's just this my style of writing. I like to be very visual.
Slyšela jsem, že při psaní provozujete podivuhodné rituály.
Well, I do have, I think every writer has a ritual. I happen to write very early, 4 a.m. Of course, that's 10 a.m. here in Prague. It's not that early. But where I live is 4 a.m. And I get up and I do some work. And it's also important to me to stay engaged and excited. So every hour I'll stop and I might do a little bit of exercise to keep the blood moving. And I don't know how strange that is, but that's what I do. And it seems to work.
Ale já mám na mysli ty prazvláštní boty.
I, for a long time now, have used gravity boots. You hang upside down. Now they have gravity tables that'll hang you upside down. It's great for your spine. It's great for your optic nerve. If your eyes are tired, it's great for your brain. It brings a lot of blood to your brain. And I guess it does sound a little bit strange, but that's what I do.
And how long you hang?
Oh, not long. 3 minutes maybe. So not long. Maybe only once a day. When I wrote Angels and Demons, which had words that were upside down and right side up, I hung upside down during that book, and so maybe that's what inspired all the upside downness of that particular book.
Vaše žena se údajně podílí na vzniku knih. Čím přesně?
Yeah, absolutely. She's very passionate about art, knows a lot about art, and we travel together. And she, will do research also. I'll say I want to know something about Prague Castle, and she'll gather all the information, and so that's all very helpful. She's also one of the first people to read the books and give me her impression. So it's helpful.
Vaše knihy vyvolávají rozporuplné reakce. Církev knihy zakazuje číst, mnoho lidí pobouřila vaše tvrzení. Vy sám svým leckdy provokativním názorům věříte?
Yeah. The novels that I write, these ideas are ideas that I hold dear, that I believe in, that I feel are important. And I was actually very surprised by all the conspiracy, or rather controversy, that came out of the Da Vinci Code. For me, the idea was not so against the mainstream. I didn't feel like it was insulting the church. I was just asking a what if. What if Jesus were not literally the Son of God? What if he were a prophet? I'm not trying to persuade people of my way of thinking. I'm just putting a story out there and letting people discuss it. And if you don't believe the way one of my novels, what the history that it's given in that novel, that's fine. You have your own version, and I have my version, and that's always okay. It's actually healthy.
Jak si vysvětlujete ohromný úspěch vašich knih, 250 miliardy prodaných výtisků a zatím 2 úspěšné filmové adaptace?
Well, I think the real secret is hard work. I try very hard to write the book that I would like to read. And I think that I'm like a lot of people. I like fast-paced. I like suspense. I like to learn about the world. I like to think. I like people to present difficult ideas that make me question my own beliefs. And so all of these things that I pull into the books, the locations, the big ideas, the pace, these are just things that I like. And I guess I'm just very lucky that a lot of people like the same thing I like.
Povězte mi něco o vašich rodičích. Měli blízko k literatuře? Ovlivnili nějakým způsobem styl vašeho psaní?
Yes, I mean they are responsible for the books because they taught me two different stories. I heard the religious story and the scientific story, which when I was very young was okay. They were two stories, but at some point they clashed. And we can't have Adam and Eve and the Big Bang. You can't have them both. So I asked a priest, which story is true? And the priest said, nice boys don't ask that question. And that was a moment that I really had to think a lot about science and religion and how they fit together. And really these novels are my own personal exploration of those ideas. Asking more questions than offering answers. But that's because of my parents, yes. They confused me. So I had to think quite a bit, and I just wrote down a lot of the thinking. In our house, on Christmas morning, when, the American children, we would come down and there'd be a Christmas tree with presents. But in our house, we come down and there's no presents. There's just a code on the tree, a piece of paper with a code, and you read the code and you decipher it, and it might say, go look in the kitchen. So we'd run to the kitchen and there's another code, and we'd solve that one, and it says, run to the bedroom, and you run over there. And so we'd follow all over the house, outside the house, in the snow, everywhere. And finally we'd get back inside to the tree and all the presents would be there. And so for me, treasure hunts, this idea of breaking codes and going to different locations is very fun. And that's something I've used in some of the books, this idea that there's a treasure hunt. It's a lot of fun.
Vaši kariéru jste zahájil coby muzikant. Na jaký nástroj hrajete?
Piano. Yeah, I've played piano my entire life. The answer is no.
So you play piano?
I do. My mother was a professional pianist. I've played piano my whole life and enjoy it a lot. And so that's one of the great ways that I relax. I grew up singing. I was in the choir at church. I was in a singing group that actually traveled the world. We went to 13 different countries, all across the Orient. We sang in St. Stephan's Dome in Vienna, which I'm trying to think the closest cathedral here, St. Mark's in Venice. Sang in Notre Dame in Paris. We didn't make it here, but maybe we should have.
Znáte nějakého českého skladatele?
Or composer?
Well, Béla Bartók.
No.
Not Czech? Well, can we cut that? Béla Bartók is, what is his?
It's from
Hungarian.
Yeah. But it's not examination.
Okay, well, I'm just, I should know that off the top of my head. Who's the most famous Czech composer? Of course. Dvořák, of course. The New World Symphony, how could I forget? I'm sorry.
So I'm sorry for
No, I have to prepare better. Dvořák, of course.
Yeah,
That is, the New World Symphony is one of the 10 most popular pieces of classical music in the world. It is very, very high on the list.
Jak dlouho píšete knihu a jak proces tvorby probíhá?
Oh, nobody knows. It could be 1 year, could be 2 years, could be 10 years. It depends how long it takes to write the book. And I've learned not to predict. It will not be 1 year, I can promise you that. But, it could be a long time. It's very important to me to write a book that my readers enjoy. I would rather have them wait 6 years and have a book they love than for me to hurry and write a book and say, here's a book, it's only 2 years, and it's not very good. So I like to take the time that's required. There's a lot of research, a lot of reading, and a lot of writing, a lot of editing. It's a very long process. Yeah.
Proč si myslíte, že zrovna Šifra mistra Leonarda byla tou knihou, která vás proslavila?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think it was necessarily better. There were a few things that happened. One is, it was the right book at the right moment in history, which is very, very important. The population was sort of primed for this sort of story, just by luck. I didn't plan it. And I also had a different publisher. A publisher is very, very important for an author. You need a publisher that believes in what you're doing and promotes what you're doing, and they really believed in it, and that was also helpful. So a combination of things.
Co děláte ve volném čase? Sportujete třeba?
Do you like sports or?
I do. Yeah, it's because writing is such a sedentary job. I just sit all day. It's very important at the end of my writing day to go be active. and I like to play tennis. I like to bike. I like to play golf. We live in the country, so I can be outside doing a lot of different things. Hi there, this is Dan Brown, author of Inferno. I'm saying a special hello to all the viewers of Weekend. Thank you for watching, and also thank you for welcoming me to Prague. Bye-bye.